So find a comfortable seat. You can sit in a chair if you'd like to. I'm sitting on a block. And just take a moment or two to settle into the space that you're in now, whether you're indoors or outdoors. Just orienting yourself in the space. So you can use your eyes to do that, looking around. You can begin to feel your weight, the weight of your body, settling in. Feel the temperature of the air against your skin, maybe against your cheeks or your arms. You might notice sounds that surround you. Beside the sound of my voice, you may notice other sounds in your environment. Perhaps you are aware of different smells that are in your space. Take a deep breath, breathing in through the nose. Just smelling the air, letting it out through your mouth. Again, breathing in through the nose. Take a nice full deep breath. Let it out through the mouth. As you settle into your space, begin to notice your body a little more deeply, just noticing any places of tension. You may have something chronic or acute happening for your body right now. You also may have places that feel pretty darn good. So noticing those areas as well. If people fall, can they not also rise? If they break away, can they not return? The stork in the sky knows when to migrate. The dove and the swallow know the season of return. What human instinct knows the time to turn back? What cue sparks the conscience of the soul? We pray to sense this day anew, attuned to the call of sacred living. So letting ourselves attune to the call of sacred living through breath, through movement, letting our breath and our movements be a moving prayer, a prayer in action. Allowing ourselves to be tuned like an instrument, tuning ourselves so that we can be a channel for all that we're put here on earth to do and to be. Recognizing this time together as sacred as we attune together. In gratitude for the ability to breathe, to be alive in this moment. So from wherever you are, if you're seated on a chair or on the floor, let's go ahead and start to just bring some movement to the joints of the body. And we're going to start with some easy neck movements. So let's bring the chin to the chest and take a deep breath in and let it out. And then start to do little half circles as if you're drawing a line across the collarbone from right to left and left to right, nice and slow. Bringing nice, deep, full breaths as you do so. And then start to make the half circles a little bigger so that one ear rests toward one shoulder, so into a full side bend of the neck. And take a breath. And then as you exhale, drop the chin, draw that line across your collarbones until the other ear is resting right above the other shoulder. And take a breath. And notice as you do this nice and slow if one side is a little more free than the other side. The next time your ear is over one shoulder, start to tilt your head back just a tiny bit as if you're tipping water out of the back of your ear over your shoulder, and pause there. So you're getting a nice opening through the front of the neck. And then start to dip your chin down, roll over to the other side, and then allow that head to tilt back just a little bit, like you're tipping water out of your ear. Good. Roll your chin toward your chest and then look straight ahead. We're going to tilt the right ear to the right shoulder and then turn your head to look down toward your right shoulder. So you're rotating the neck. And then turn the head to look straight in front of you and bring the head back up. And now bring the left ear to the left shoulder without any force. You're just allowing the weight of your head to take you into the stretch. And then turn your head so that your nose starts to point down toward your left shoulder. Pause there. And then start to look in front of you and bring your head back up. Good. Just notice how your neck feels after that range of motion. And start to move your shoulders now. So we're going to do just some really gentle shoulder circles up, back, and down. Make them an exploration. So rather than just going through the motion, can you slow it down so that when your shoulders can round forward and you can feel space between your shoulder blades, then bring them up toward the ears. Notice how that feels. And then make a big circle and retract the shoulder blades. So draw the shoulder blades together as you drop the shoulders. So you're making a nice, think of is it a Ferris wheel? Yes, think of a Ferris wheel. So each of your shoulders is a Ferris wheel going in a nice big circle, and maybe it's not a circle because maybe you have some things going on, or maybe there's a lot of crackling. That's okay. Just notice and pause at the bottom and reverse the Ferris wheel. Just start to retract the shoulders first, bring them up toward the ears, round the shoulders, so protracting the shoulder blades, and come down. Good, we'll do one more. Good, and then just shake that out. Bring your right fingertips to the floor, or if you're on a chair, just hold on to the chair and lift your left arm up, pull your belly in, and reach for the sky. So we're not shrugging the shoulder into the ears, we're keeping the shoulder down, but we're reaching the hand, and the fingertips are spread wide, reaching for the sky, and then start to lean, diagonally reaching up. We're going to roll the chest a little bit more forward to get into the underarm area. Take a breath. Good. Exhale, return. Other side, inhale, reach up, create lots of length, draw the navel in, and from that length and still rooting down into your sits bones, we're gonna reach up and over diagonally, rotating the heart up, forward as we reach. Take a breath and exhale, release. Very nice. Bring your hands into a clasped position and then press your palms away from you. So hands are clasped, but you're stretching out those palms, and then bring the arms up overhead. Modifying if you need to. If it hurts to reach overhead, you can just stretch those hands down below you. Whatever works for your body. If you have your hands overhead, go ahead and lean over to the side. Just pick a side, but keep your belly pulled in. And come on up. Nice big breath. Exhale. Over to the other side and come on up. Good. So as your hands start to release, I would like you to press your palms away from you. So now your arms are in a T position, drawing the tips of the shoulder blades together, pressing as if you're pressing into two invisible walls, getting a stretch in the forearm, and then start to do some circles, big circles with your wrists. Reverse your circles, get your fingers all involved. So try to articulate the movement of each finger. Bring your hands back down. Just take a moment to notice how the upper body feels. Good. All right, let's come to, you know what I want to do first? I'm going to come close to the screen and I'm going to just show you a picture of the psoas, because we work on our psoas a lot in this class because of special requests, because of lower back tension. And I just thought, you know, it would be really fun, because I'm kind of an anatomy geek. I love to study anatomy. I thought I'd bring a picture to you. Some of you might be like, what am I looking at? And some of you might be like, oh yeah, I've seen that before. So I'm going to bring my microphone up here. And I'm going to show you so that when we're working, we're being really conscious about our bodies, what we're actually working on. So this is a front view of your spine. We'll cut in half here. This is your spine front view. That is your pelvic, your hip bone, and that's the top of your thigh bone. So your psoas, the thing that does this movement here, hip flexion, this kind of thing, comes from this muscle. It's super big, super thick. It attaches in your lower back muscles. It's way deep, attaching to the sides of the lower lumbar spine. It comes all the way down, and it attaches actually inside your inner thigh, which you actually can't palpate. You can't touch it. It's so deep. So that is the muscle that we work with all the time. And when it's really tight, we get this. We have a natural curve. We can get an extra deep curve, which causes back pain. So we want to lengthen the psoas so that we can bring that curve back to a natural state. So if you have any lower back issues, often it's because we sit a lot, or we maybe have a sport where we're in flexion a lot. So we are going to work on that today, and we're also going to work on the antagonist muscle, the muscle that does the exact opposite. This is your butt cheek right here. So we're going to work on the gluteus maximus as well, which actually tends to be weak in most people, unless you're a runner. So the gluteus is the lower, we're going to work the lower part of the glutes. And that movement, I'm going to hold my TV, good luck to me, right? That's the opposite. So we have our flexion, and then we have extension of the hip. So we're going to go through a lot of those movements today. And the reason I took the time to explain that is because when we bring more consciousness and awareness to our movements, I think we create a more profound effect. Because we're not just following the leader, we're actually really co-creating a sense of wholeness in the body. So we want to lengthen the muscles and strengthen them at the same time. So a lot of times if a muscle's tight, it's actually also weak. So we want to work on creating balance and wholeness. So I said that because we're gonna come right into a child's pose, just stretching out the lower back. This also stretches the glutes. Let your head rest on the floor. Take a few deep breaths. If what I said was interesting, great. If it was just like not interesting and you didn't really take it in, that's totally fine too. Just let it all go and return to your body. We're going to bring the hands under the shoulders and knees under the hips, and the knees are about hip width apart. If you're in a chair, you can actually modify this by sitting on the edge of the chair and doing the spinal movements as well. We're going to move through cat and cow, inhaling, reaching the head up, arching the lower back, and then as we exhale, rounding the back, pressing the ground away, tucking the tailbone. So when we're in cow, which I'm in right now, there's a lot of shortening happening in the psoas. As we round the back, actually, I'm sorry, we're lengthening the psoas. And as we round the back, we create a little bit of the shortening of the psoas. Start to side bend, wag your tail, shift the hips forward and back if you'd like to. I'm going to do some circles here, just warming up the hips. Release your jaw and your head. We're going to come right down to our bellies. So I like to come to the forearms first. And place the tops of your feet on the floor. And just bring your hands by your sides here. So rock from side to side and feel the pubic bone and the hip bones really connected to the floor. Actually, bring your hands under your head, like just crisscross your hands. It'll be better support that way because we're going to explore something here. So lift your right leg up off the floor. Lift it as high as you can. And notice what's going on in your lower back. And then lift your left leg up as high as you can. And feel that chain of movement traveling up into the lower back. You might feel like the back, there's a little bit of a back bend or an accentuation in that curve. Now we're going to lower the head onto the hands, and I'd like you to focus on tucking your tailbone. It's like you could tuck your tailbone, imagine toward your pubic bone. So you're going to feel your abdominals engaged, so pull your belly in, press your hips into the floor and tuck your tailbone, and keep that stability there as you lift your right leg again. And you might notice there's a lot less range of motion, but you're isolating the gluteal muscles as you do this and strengthening. Now lift the left leg a few times. Keep the engagement of the core and the pelvis tucked. Lifting and lowering. Good. You can take a break. Relax completely. And now once again, pull the belly in. Tuck your tailbone, press your hip bones in, and if it works for you today to lift both legs, then try to do that and squeeze the inner thighs toward each other. Lift them up as high as you can without feeling it in the lower back. Try to keep it all in the gluteal area, the gluteus, and then maybe flutter the legs. Good, and then release. Let's go ahead and bend the knees and just crisscross the legs, releasing the lower back. And then go ahead and flip over. And we'll hug the knees into the chest. So even though it doesn't look like a butt stretch, it actually is one of the best stretches for the gluteus maximus, the big glutes. A lot of our other stretches get into the deeper gluteal muscles. So go ahead and squeeze your knees in. Lengthen that lower back. And then do some circles, whatever feels good. And then place your feet on the floor. So bring your heels close to your bottom, and they're about hip width apart or 2 fist width apart. Hi, Oliver. And just start to do a few pelvic tilts. So just rocking the pelvis forward and back. So what we're going to do here is we're going to fire up our core muscles. And if you do have any lower back challenges, just be really cautious and slow and modify if you need to. So we're going to bring one leg up, and you'll see that this is called tabletop. It's as if my whole leg, my lower leg, is resting on a table or a couch or a coffee table. And then I'm going to lift the other leg up to tabletop. If this already bothers your back, bring your knees in closer to your body. That's going to take pressure off the back and the core. If you're able to bring the knees so that they're stacked over the hips and that your legs are in 90-degree angles here, that's great. Pull your belly in. Pull it in. And now we're going to do toe or heel taps. So if you tap your heel down, it's a little more challenging. If you tap your toe down, it's not as challenging. It's very easy to cheat and bend at the knee and tap your toes down, which does not much. So we want to take that L shape of the leg and bring it all the way down. Like you just tap the whole L shape to the floor and back. And then alternate. And that is going to wake up your abs. And you can go really slow. There's no rush here. There's no number we're trying to get to. But I have my hands on my abdominal area to really bring attention to the firing of those muscles. So we're using our psoas here too. So you notice we're in flexion. So we're heating it up.
Sorry, I couldn't
before
hear what
we
you
stretch
said.
it. Good. And then take a break whenever you need to. You can always hug your knees into your chest again. Good. So we're going to come up to seated, leaning back on our hands if we need to. Okay. So we're going to do boat pose or a modified boat pose. So or Navasana. So boat pose would look like this, and then there's a million ways to do that, variations. So if you have any low back challenges, you can always lean back if you need to and lift one leg at a time. It's just going to feel a little different because our relationship to gravity is a little different than when we're on our back. Or we're going to lift both legs and reach the arms forward, bring the shoulders back, shoulder blades back. You can hold onto the back of your legs anytime you need a break. So we're wanting to avoid rounding the lower back. We really want to lead with the heart, which is what we always want to do, right? Always leading with the heart. Pull the belly in. Breathe. You can toe tap if you want, which is going to really get into your psoas. And release. Go ahead and come forward. Bring your feet together, knees out, and just let yourself release. Come into a counter pose for your back. We're going to use our blocks for the next couple of exercises. So have those at the top of your mat. So we just did a heck of a lot of work on the psoas and the core. So we're going to do a little lunge here. So if you have a chair, you can also use your chair in front of you. We're going to bring the right foot forward. So if your knee, the other knee, is sensitive, you can use a little blanket or roll your mat up to give you extra padding. So what we get out of a lunge like this is really dependent upon the subtle adjustments that we make. So we can be here, all in right angles, as you see, and we can kind of just hang out in it, and that's going to create that curve in the lower back. Or you can draw the belly in, press into the ground with your left knee so you get nice and tall, and then tuck your tailbone underneath you. It's like you're lifting the front pockets on the left leg. Okay, so from the front, here we go. So you're tucking the tailbone, drawing the belly in, and then you're going to bring your left arm up. So left arm is up on the same side as that knee is down. And while you're tucking your tailbone, take a little lean over toward the right. So really getting deep into the iliopsoas muscle here, partly into the obliques. And then come on down. So you're still on this right knee forward. Now go ahead and come into a deeper lunge. And you can use your blocks for support. So to make this an effective stretch, engage your pelvic floor muscles. So pull up on those muscles, and then I want you to magnetize your right heel to your left knee. It's like they want to come together. It's a little isometric pulling. So as soon as you do that, you're going to feel more stability. Let's breathe. Good, and release. Go ahead and take a child's pose. You can take a wide knee child's pose or narrow knee, and just breathe here. So we have several daily blessings in our Siddur. I do them regularly, and I love them. And some of these daily blessings have to do with exactly what we're supporting here. So we have a blessing for Zokef Kefufim, blessed are you who lifts up the fallen. So we have this blessing of strength and the ability to rise up. Go ahead and come on up. Come back to your knees. This time, bring the left foot forward. Shoulders are straight over those hips if you can. Belly's pulled in. The left leg is in right angles here. And now draw the belly, as you draw the belly in, tuck the tailbone underneath you and hold that. Keep breathing. And then if you're ready, you can lift the right arm and start to lean over to the left. As you do that, notice if you kind of came forward. Try to keep your shoulders over your hips and make it a side bend in one plane. Breathe here. Good. And then use your blocks to help bring you forward into a lower lunge. If you need to step your front foot forward, you can. We have another blessing, Matir Asurim, which means who frees the captive, right? And we can take that as freeing the captive in the biblical times. We can also take it to mean creating freedom. Freedom, the ability to stretch, the ability to move, to have space. And so these poses actually create Matir Asurim. So you remember that you're activating your pelvic floor and you're magnetizing your left heel to your right knee. Good, release that. come into one more child's pose. Release your back and try to let the weight of your hips really settle and sink toward your heels. All right, we're going to come back up to our tabletop. If your wrist gets sore in this shape here, you can come onto your knuckles or your fingertips. They're called cupcake hands. So you can, like you're holding a cupcake upside down. That's really strengthening for the fingers. We're going to do bird dog. So this pose is going to help us prepare for that standing pose I talked about. So bring your left knee in toward the midline of your body. Just all right, I'm back. I'm sorry, my computer seems to shut off in the middle of class often. Can you hear me now? Can I have a thumbs up if you can hear? Yeah? Yes? Good. Okay. Wonderful. So we're in our tabletop and we bring that left knee in to the midline a little bit and then just stretch the right leg behind you. Without lifting the leg up, just stretch it out, put your toes on the floor and get a little calf stretch. So keeping in mind those principles of tucking the belly in and tucking the tailbone just a little bit, like you're really creating a kind of a mini ab crunch even in this position, then start to lift the leg. So it won't lift very high. You want to keep this all in the gluteal area. You don't want to feel that I'm going way out of alignment here. You don't want to feel this in your lower back. You want to only lift to feel it in your glute. And breathe and bring your inner thigh, your right inner thigh, in toward your left thigh. And release. Shake it out if you need to. Do a little tail wag. And then change sides. So pull the belly in, extend the left leg, toes are on the floor, press back into that calf stretch. And then come forward, navel is in toward the spine, lift the leg, but think of tucking your tailbone just a hair to keep the work in the glutes, in the gluteus maximus, and then bring the inner thigh of the left leg in toward the right leg, just a little bit. So notice your hip bones, your frontal hip bones, and they should be just pointed straight down to the floor. And then also look down if you can toward your left toes. Those should be pointed toward the floor. Good. Release, shake it out, shake your wrists out. Okay, and we're going to come to stand. Bring your massage balls with you. And we'll do a little love for the feet. So start massaging your right foot with your ball. So the blessing that I feel like really epitomizes the work that we're doing is Hamechin Mitzadeh Gaver. Bless the one who strengthens our steps. And we can't be upright, we can't lift ourselves up from falling, we can't move with strength without this balance of strength and length in our bodies. And this area that we're working on is so key to that. You're getting into the inner arch now. So just to bring this to the reflex points, if you bring the ball not to the heel, but right just north of the heel, so right when the center of the foot starts to the soft part of the center of the foot, if you bring the ball there and you press straight down gently, you're right in the small intestine area. So just really supporting the digestive process, which is affected greatly when we have really tight muscles in this part of the body. So breathing, softening the foot over this area. Good, and go ahead and release that side. And curl the toes under and press down so that you can stretch the top of the foot as well. Okay, let's switch to the left foot. How does this side feel compared to the other side? Right now, in this moment, you are being a good steward for the gift that you've been given, the holy temple of your body. Bring that ball to just a little bit above the heel into that soft section of the foot and gently press down. Good, release that ball. You can place it off to the side and curl your toes under and just get a little shin and top of the foot stretch. Good. And with your feet hip width apart, I'll go sideways so you can get a little better view. We're going to do a little Tai Chi inspired movement. So we'll inhale, reach the arms up, come up onto the toes. Exhale, press the arms back behind you. Feel free to take this at your own pace. You do not have to match my pace. Focusing on balance and breath. Let's do one more. And place the hands down. So I'll grab my chair just so I have a demonstration of if you're going to use it. So you can use the top of your chair, the back of your chair, or you can use the seat of your chair. It's going to really depend on how far you want to come down. So we'll start with our right leg as our standing leg. And make those toes point straight forward. And bring your hands to your hips, draw your belly in. So you know the same thing that we did when we were in our kneeling position. Start to lift the back foot. And if you're comfortable reaching for your chair, you'll come to your chair. And if you can, look back at your toes of the lifted leg. Make sure they're pointed straight down again. It's really important you keep your core pulled in here and squeeze the quadricep, the thigh of the standing leg. Square your hip bones to the floor. This is Digasana. Pull the navel in, keep pulling it in and keep breathing. If you're comfortable letting go or bringing your arms out to the side, you can do that. I'm going to keep mine right here on this chair today. A lot of work happening. Bend the front knee and come on up to standing. Inhale, reach your arms up. And let yourself fall forward. Take a nice deep forward fold. We're right into stretching the gluteus muscles here. Not only the back and hamstrings, but the glutes. So when we're in the Digasana, when we lift the leg, we're working glutes. Now we're lengthening them. Relax the weight of your head. Take a big breath in, let out a sigh. Good, bend your knees and start to come up with a flat back. So hinging up. Very nice. We're going to take the second side, so that left leg is your standing leg. Toes point forward. Gauging where that chair needs to be so that when you start to lift the right leg and tipping forward, you can land in just the right place for you today. I like to take a peek at my toes, make sure they're pointed straight down. Often that hip rolls open, so you want to really keep it, that internal rotation of the leg. Breathing here. Feel that standing leg firing up. You're actually using your gluteus medius as well, another butt muscle that helps you with stabilization. One more breath. Good, bend that standing leg knee and go ahead and come on up. We're going to take some twists to release the back. You can tap your soft fists on your chest and lower back. Good. So as we do that, we really support the chi or the life force in the body. So last week we did power hara, which was a little different than some of the other breathing techniques we've done. So we're going to do it again. It's a good review. So knees are soft for this. Palms will be up. So you'll breathe in. Good. Take a little break. I imagine if you're outside, that's pretty amazing because you're really connecting to the life force of nature all around you. I think it'd be nice to do in a park or by a tree. The next time we're going to do it, we'll reach up. Same thing, but we're reaching up. Ready? Last two. Good. Find your natural breath again. The last part of this is just easier to try to do it rather than explain it because it's like crisscrossing. So we're going to have one arm up when the leg is up. So we're crisscrossing. I think I said like kind of like cross-country skiing or something. So two more and relax. Silent quiz. What muscle were we using as we lifted our knees? Right in those hip flexors. Okay, let's go ahead and have a seat. So we'll combine both the strengthening of the glutes and the lengthening of the psoas, these two opposing muscles, with bridge pose as we move dynamically through it. So you're on your back in a bridge pose setup, so the feet are close to your butt. You might be able to graze your heels with your fingertips, with your middle fingers. if you make two fists in front of you and you kind of eyeball it, you can see if the knees are about that far apart. So however you want to do this, so some of you might lift the arms up for this, some of you might keep them down, totally up to you. So I'm going to have you press into your feet first. Just press into your feet, but don't let your body go anywhere. Press and release. Press and release. Every time you go into a bridge, you're going to press into your feet first. So press, tuck your tailbone so it's like a little mini abdominal crunch, and then start to lift the back. Lift it as high as comfortable for you. And keep pressing into your feet. We're lengthening the psoas here. If you want to lift your arms overhead and you have room to do so, you can. We're going to start to lower, 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 lower. Take a breath, and then once again come into your bridge, press into your feet, lift your hips. So we have a little activation in the glutes here. We don't want to squeeze them like crazy. We really don't, because we can crunch up that SI joint and lower back area. So if you have low back issues, I want you to focus more on the quads, lifting you up rather than squeezing your buttocks super hard. So you want to activate them but not traumatize them. And lower down. Good. Go ahead and hug your knees into your chest. Let's take a wide knee stretch. Let's release those ankles. Say thank you to our feet for holding us up for those standing poses. Let's take a figure 4 stretch. So bring the feet back to that bridge setup and cross the right ankle over the left thigh or knee. At this point, if you want to do pigeon instead, that would be an option. Otherwise, you're going to just pull the left leg toward you, hold on to the back of the thigh, and flex both feet and get into the outer gluteal muscles, which we did use. We use those as well for our stabilization when we're standing on one leg. All of this working together to keep us upright. It's really a miracle. Take a few more breaths. Shimmy those shoulders down your back. Draw the legs in close. Go ahead and release this side and come right into the other side. Do you have one side that's tighter than the other? Often what I recommend in training is that if you do have a tighter side, you start with that side, and then you do the more flexible side, and then you repeat the tight side, so it gets a little extra. Go ahead and release this side, and keep your knees close as you place your feet on the floor, and lift your hips and just scoot them over to the right and place them back down, and let your knees fall over to the left. Open your arms out, create some space through the chest, gaze over your right arm. Take a few nice full breaths, really filling up that rib cage area. And then bring the top knee up first, followed by the bottom knee. And then lift your hips and shift them over to the left a few inches. And then bring the knees down to the right. Gaze over the left arm. Good. Bring your knees back up and set your body up for Shavasana. You can use your chair. If you have your chair nearby, you can drape your lower legs over your chair for support if that feels good, or you can just lie on your back with any supports that you need. If you have any tension in your jaw, you could take a moment to massage the jaw and the temples and just release any tension in the face. Sometimes we clench our jaw when we're making efforts in other areas. Doing whatever it is that you need to do to feel ready for stillness. Notice if there is any leftover gripping or holding in the body, especially in the areas that we worked. And use your breath to consciously let go and release those areas around the hips and lower back. Allow the weight of your head to get even heavier. And for your spine to soften, and imagine the spine just melting into gravity, yielding to the earth, yielding to your mat. Open up our eyes, teach us how to live, fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name, and we will know that you are one. Open up our eyes, teach us how to live, fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name, and we will know that you are one, and we will know that you are one. Feeling the oneness, the unity in your own body. Feeling a sense of return to wholeness, a gathering of peace within. And take a moment of reflection as you bring your hands to your heart. Asking, What would attune you to the call of sacred living? What would attune you? What action can you take or not take to attune yourself more deeply to this sacred life? As you are ready, please roll to your side and gently press yourself up to a seated position. Open up our eyes, teach us how to live. Fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name, and we will know that you are one. And we will know that you are one. We end this practice this morning with a prayer. May all beings be happy. May all beings be healthy. May all beings be free. May all beings be loved. May all beings have peace. May it be so. Ken Yehi Ratzon. Shalom.